Aloha and welcome. This is Eagle News America. I'm Alfred Asenes coming to you from Hawaii. My island is actually on Oahu, which is also known as Honolulu County. In this broadcast, we have our correspondents ready to deliver their latest reports. We start off in the nation's capital where we have Imelin Ramos.
President Trump clashes with Fox interviewer on a variety of topics, and Mayor of DC activates the district's heat emergency plan.
Up a little bit in Gaithersburg, Maryland, we have Naya Dames.
Maryland replaces coronavirus tests from South Korea, and key health metrics continue to fall.
Still moving up north to New Jersey, we have Mayanne Manzano-Gorzon.
New Jersey governor signs executive order creating greater oversight and accountability for federal COVID-19 resources.
Moving on south to Texas, Nanita Manawis from Dallas reports about a judge clarifying that the number of COVID-19 related infant deaths in Nueces County is not a sudden surge. Plus, Texas is offering extra time for school districts to offer remote instruction. And then we move to the Pacific Northwest in Washington, where Frendel Feheran reports about social gathering limitations in Washington State's rollback. Down to Southern Nevada, we have Anna Cui.
State of Nevada seeks plans from cities and counties as they respond to federal designations of red and yellow zones for COVID-19.
Moving to Southern California, Andre Retutar with his report.
Multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, or MIS-C, a new threat amid the COVID-19 pandemic.
And get this, we have sporting news. Julianne Evangelista from Boston reports about NBA players Kyle Lowry and Gordon Hayward's opinions and sacrifice and family life. Plus, later on, we're going to talk about household hacks with all our correspondents joining us. I'll probably do a lot more listening than talking so I can learn. But first, as always, we have to start with the latest developments on the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Johns Hopkins Resource Center, as of July 19, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, the total number of cases worldwide is now more than 14,300,000. This includes more than 3,700,000 in the United States. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 603,000 lives worldwide, to include more than 140,000 now in the U.S. We cannot emphasize enough the safety and health guidelines put out by government officials. Let's all practice them. Now, in our news, we're going to start off first with South America. The Chilean government presents a 5-stage plan for the gradual reopening of the country, one of the most affected in South America by the pandemic, with over 328,000 cases and more than 8,000 deaths to date. Let's take a look.
Este plan, que será paso a paso, con cautela, con prudencia, recogiendo las recomendaciones de la ciencia, la Organización Mundial de la Salud, el Consejo Asesor, se va a aplicar en forma gradual y flexible, escuchando siempre a las comunidades y recogiendo siempre con atención la realidad de cada comuna y región. Porque el plan paso a paso contempla 5 etapas. Primero, cuarentena, en la cual están muchas comunas hoy día. Segundo, transición. Tercero, preparación. Cuarto, apertura inicial. Y quinto, apertura avanzada. Este plan paso a paso nos permitirá fortalecer también el proceso de recuperación de nuestro país. Volver a poner en plena marcha nuestra economía y a poner en plena marcha a nuestro país.
Let's move on now to the United States, where protesters gather outside the Hatfield Federal Courthouse in Portland, Oregon, which lasted from Saturday night up until early on Sunday. Federal officers wearing camouflage uniforms could be seen as well, despite a call from the mayor for their withdrawal. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler demanded the withdrawal of federal officers from the northwestern U.S. city, accusing them of dangerously escalating the situation with abusive, unconstitutional tactics against the protesters. The accusations followed another night of protests in that Oregon city that saw a police association building set on fire. Mayor Wheeler said that the federal officers sent to the city had escalated a long-running standoff between protesters and police with tactics that included scooping people off the streets into unmarked vans without identifying themselves. The Portland protests are part of the nationwide wave against police brutality sparked by the killing in May of George Floyd. In other news, as the state deals with a stark surge in virus cases, Arizona's government has decided to step in and open a drive-through testing site at Maryvale High School in Phoenix. The new site is offering free touchless COVID-19 tests to the public, where patients will be given a testing package with instructions on how to swab their nostrils. The U.S. marked a record number of cases Friday for the third consecutive day, reaching 638 new infections in 24 hours, according to Johns Hopkins. According to the count by the Baltimore-based university at 8:30 p.m. or local time, the country also recorded 927 deaths in one day. The country hardest hit by the coronavirus in the world in absolute terms has suffered 139,128 total fatalities out of 3.64 million confirmed cases. Experts believe the U.S. has never emerged from its first wave of infections, and cases have been surging again in recent weeks, particularly across the South and West in states that pushed to lift lockdown restrictions early. In California, LA County reported 4,592 new cases of COVID-19 on Thursday, which is a single-day record. Meanwhile, in Texas and Arizona, which are dealing with stark surges in virus cases and deaths, authorities are bringing in refrigerated trucks to cope with the body count. When we come back, we'll finally get to talk to our correspondents across the U.S. Stay tuned. This is Eagle News America.
Tomorrow, I love ya. Tomorrow, you're always a day away.
Hello there, I'm Alfred, and I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, batch of 2008 in New Era University. I'm currently working as an operations analyst in Autodesk.
Hi, I'm Earl Escanio, and I graduated with Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science in 2010. I am a consultant at Trinity Consulting, LLC.
Hi, I'm Ivy Nakatagal, Bachelor's in Computer Science graduate, year 2010. I am currently working as a cybersecurity analyst in one of the largest telco here in New Zealand, Coast Park, NZ.
I'm Jofran David Riego, a BS Computer Science graduate here in 2015. As a legal analyst, I am tasked to read U.S. cases, specifically civil torts cases.
I am Melanie Rico Hermosa P., a Bachelor of Science and Computer Science graduate, year 2006.
I'm currently a software quality assurance engineer at FBI Systems here in Maryland, United States.
Hi, I'm Renzo Cruz. I'm a graduate of BS Computer Science, year 2012. I'm currently working abroad and I'm working as a senior cybersecurity consultant who specializes in digital forensics and incident response. And I am part of a national security in one of the countries here in the Middle East.
I am inviting everyone to study at New Era University to grit.
Be brilliant in the new era.
Study now at New Era University.
Excellence,
Discipline,
Service to humanity.
Hello, my name is Robin and I'm 5 years old. My mom and dad said many people are getting sick. That is why we have to stay at home. That is why I cannot go to school. I cannot play outside. And I cannot even visit my friends. We can only go outside if we visit the doctor or if we need to buy some food. And when we get home, we have to wash our hands. While I'm at home, I do my homework, clean up my toys, help cooking our food, and help my parents with their work. Please stay home so we can all play together again. Bye!
Welcome back to Eagle News America, coming to you from Hawaii. I'm Alfred Asenes. In Washington, D.C., President Donald Trump clashes with a Fox interview on a variety of topics, and Mayor Muriel Bowser activates the district's heat emergency plan in light of the recent rise in temperatures there in the nation's capital. For more, we have Imelin Ramos standing by and keeping cool. Aloha, Imelin.
Aloha, Alfred. As we try to get accustomed to the new normal, some things just never change. Politics. As the U.S. presidential election draws closer, the two main candidates are ramping up their campaign and pressing forward. In a highly anticipated interview on Fox News Sunday, President Donald J. Trump clashed with Fox News' Chris Wallace over a variety of issues. President Trump assailed likely opponent Joe Biden as not competent to lead the United States, with several polls saying that Biden is ahead of President Trump. Trump made several unfounded or highly speculative accusations against the former vice president, saying Biden would triple your taxes and defund the police. He added broadly that religion would be gone, referring to Democratic officials banning large church services to stem the virus spread. Asked whether he would accept the election result in November, even if he loses, President Trump said, "I have to see. I'm not going to just say yes." A lot more interesting exchanges can be found in the recorded interview. Besides presidential politics heating up, so are the temperatures here in Washington, D.C. Today, we reached a high of 98 degrees Fahrenheit, which is equivalent to 36 degrees Celsius. The Midwest and West Coast might not think of that being anything extreme, but here in the East Coast, it's anything but normal. Due to the recent extreme heat, the office of the mayor of Washington, D.C., Muriel Bowser, stated on their website that the district's public testing sites and grocery sites will close on Monday, July 20, while meal sites will remain open. The mayor has activated the district's heat emergency plan for Saturday, July 18 through July 22. This allows for certain measures to be activated and opens cooling centers for residents to seek relief from the scorching heat. For more information, please go to heat.dc.gov. Here are some extreme heat safety precautions advised by the Office of the Mayor that many of us should seriously consider. They are, first, stay indoors when possible. Second, drink plenty of fluids, avoiding drinks with caffeine and alcohol. Third, limit sun exposure, especially between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. when the sun is the strongest. Fourth, apply sunscreen at least 20 minutes before going outdoors. And lastly, wear light-colored, lightweight clothing. This is definitely good advice that my family and I will follow. As to what happens when the temperatures get cooler and more bearable, we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, it's just nice to stay indoors and stay cool. In Washington, D.C., I'm Melinda Ramos, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Mahalo. Thank you very much for that update and those tips on preventing heat injuries there in the nation's capital, Imelin. Let's talk about presidential politics. I know you guys are monitoring the polls there. Tell us something about the latest polling data, especially in this coming election. And does the president have any opinion about these polls?
Interestingly enough, Alfred, in the interview that the president had with Chris Wallace told the president that a new Fox opinion poll showed Biden with a substantial lead over Trump, not only on his ability to manage the pandemic with a 17-point edge and to deal with racial unrest by 21 points, but even by a single point on handling the economy, which has long been a Trump strong point. Also, a new Washington Post ABC News poll has Biden leading Trump among registered voters nationwide by a resounding 15-point margin, that is 55-40%. Other polls from Fox News, NBC News, Wall Street Journal, and Quinnipiac University also has Biden leading Trump. So, as you have asked, what has President Trump say about all these polls? Well, Alfred, President Trump dismissed such polling as fake, saying White House surveys shows him winning both nationally and in key swing states. I really don't follow polls myself because, as history has shown, polls can change and a lot could happen from now until the November elections. Alfred.
That's true. Between now and the general elections in November, throughout the U.S., anything can happen, and we can only go one day at a time and figure out our best guess as to the outcome. Well, thank you very much, and we hope to. I'm sure we'll hear more on the politics and the election season in the coming days leading up to November. Take care of yourself, Aimelin.
Thank you, Alfred. You too.
Still around the nation's capital, we move up to Maryland, where the state replaces its coronavirus tests from South Korea. And key health metrics continue to fall. To explain more, we have Naya Dames from Gaithersburg, Maryland, with the details. Aloha, Naya.
Aloha, Alfred. President Donald Trump told a group of governors back in March, the respirators, ventilators, all of the equipment, try getting it yourself. We will be backing you, but try getting it yourself. Due to the lack of a national strategy, then the federal government entrusted the states to acquire these on their own. This caused great competition for limited supplies amongst the federal and state governments. States have had to find their own means of acquiring these supplies and equipment. Determined to get the needed materials, Maryland Governor Larry Hogan, back in April, worked with his wife, First Lady Yumi, on securing 500,000 coronavirus tests from South Korea. They seized the opportunity that was made possible because of their great relationship. Hogan took special steps to ensure that the tests were protected and avoid the federal government from confiscating imported supplies, like what other states experienced. Upon the state's request, the Korean Air passenger planes were guarded by National Guard troops and state police at a secret location. Governor Hogan said in an interview with another news outlet that Maryland had traded the original tests bought from South Korea and upgraded to newer tests. Hogan stated that they were swapped out like you trade in your iPhone for faster, better tests at a couple dollars more per kit. The purchase made in spring totaled to approximately $9.4 million, or about $18 per test kit. There are about 400,000 of these new tests. Hogan added that these new tests are a portion of an important stockpile to help expand testing capacity and prepare for the spread of coronavirus in the fall. 925 new cases in Maryland reported as of Sunday morning. Despite the spike of new reported cases, deaths and the rate of positive test results continue to maintain its low rate. On a lighter note, with the ongoing pandemic introducing a new normal, students out of school for the summer can still enjoy while abiding by the CDC guidelines. Here in Gaithersburg, Maryland, with the heat wave, it is currently 31 degrees Celsius. These circumstances force us to get creative. What else is there aside from Netflix and browsing the internet? Virtual tours and online exhibits have increased in popularity. Some museums that offer these virtual walkthroughs are Musée d'Orsay in Paris, home of some of the greatest paintings in the world. This includes Van Gogh's self-portrait and many paintings by Monet. Here in the nation's capital, the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History explores exhibits such as the Butterfly Pavilion, Hall of Fossils, Ancient Egypt, and many more. With the numbers still increasing, it is important to continue to practice COVID-19 prevention. Virtual tours are only one of the activities that you can enjoy and still continue to do our part in flattening the curve. In Gaithersburg, Maryland, I'm Naya Dames, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Thanks very much for the latest there in Maryland, Naya. So on a normal day, are there museums there in the DC area free of charge to get in? And what do you suggest? What's your favorite that we might consider ourselves?
Yes, there are actually, Alfred. Washington, D.C. offers many free museum experiences. One of my favorites, which is the National Museum of Natural History, because of the many beautiful artifacts and exhibits in it. Some other museums include the National Gallery of Art, National Air and Space Museum, and of course the United States Botanic Gardens.
That's good suggestions. In fact, our fellow correspondent and anchor Ken Cruz shared his views about not going to the museums there in his area of late. So we'll remind him in this broadcast. Thank you very much, Naya, and do take care of yourself. Moving on up to New Jersey, Governor Phil Murphy signs an executive order creating greater oversight and accountability for federal COVID-19 resources. For more, in Sicklerville, we have Mayan Manzana-Gorzon. Aloha, Mayan.
Aloha, Alfred. First, some weather update. It's currently clear tonight here in Sicklerville, New Jersey at 82 degrees Fahrenheit or 28 degrees Celsius. Earlier was sunny and the high was 96 degrees Fahrenheit or 36 degrees Celsius. Now, onto the headline. Acting to ensure greater oversight and accountability in the state's administration of federal COVID-19 resources, Governor Phil Murphy today signed Executive Order number 166, which establishes the Governor's Disaster Recovery Office and COVID-19 Compliance and Oversight Task Force. Take a look.
An executive order to provide greater assurance that the federal coronavirus relief funds we are receiving will be spent expeditiously, properly, and transparently. I am creating within my office the Governor's Disaster Recovery Office, which will serve as the center point of contact and coordination for COVID-19 recovery programs funded through the CARES Act and other sources of federal funds. In essence, this new office will replace and assume the responsibilities of the Office of Recovery and Rebuilding established in the wake of Superstorm Sandy. The office will ensure that all funds are expended in compliance with federal rules and regulations, and that strategies and policies are aligned across all of our state's departments. I am further requiring the creation of a transparency website to track the office's progress, and independently of that website, I will require an annual report to be produced. Additionally, I am creating a COVID-19 compliance task force to review all COVID-related procurements above a certain dollar threshold, ensure internal controls, and provide compliance training to all agencies receiving COVID-19 funds. The task force will also establish an integrity oversight monitoring program with a pool of outside vendors to ensure agencies guard against fraud, waste, and abuse of any COVID-19 funds. Integrity monitors will submit quarterly reports to the Disaster Recovery Office, the Attorney General, the Comptroller, and both the Senate President and the Assembly Speaker, as well as post them online.
Governor Murphy also announced that Daniel Kelly, current Executive Director of the Office of Recovery and Rebuilding, will lead the Governor's Disaster Recovery Office. Acting State Comptroller Kevin Walsh will lead the COVID-19 Compliance and Oversight Task Force. The Governor's Executive Order also directs the State Comptroller to review all COVID-related procurements above a certain dollar threshold, or currently $150,000, ensure internal controls, and provide compliance training to all agencies receiving COVID-19 funds. The order further states that the State Comptroller and the GDRO shall report to the Governor from time to time on the progress of the COVID-19 recovery and the compliance process, and in doing so, shall indicate whether additional staff and assistance is necessary to ensure accountability, transparency, and the timely expenditure of federal resources. Meanwhile, here is today's statistical report of New Jersey's COVID-19 cases. According to the Department of Health of New Jersey, there is 144 new positive cases reported today, bringing a statewide total of 176,600 783 New Jerseyans tested positive. Sadly, we have 11 new deaths, adding to a total of 13,732 fatalities. New Jersey is currently on stage 2 of its road to recovery. In Sicklerville, New Jersey, May and Manzano Garzon, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Thanks very much for that update, May Ann. It looks like New Jersey, along with several other states, are already now demonstrating some transparency with the federal aid that they're receiving. Now, where is this money going to be going to the most need there in New Jersey? And anything that sticks out that's interesting, from your end?
Alfred, according to Governor Murphy himself in his daily COVID-19 briefing, it's everything. He said, being that this pandemic is unprecedented, he said that the need is across the board. There were no details given on appropriations, Alfred, but the governor mentioned healthcare, housing, education, frontline workers, and the services that the government delivers each and every day. Alfred?
Yeah, that's you can expect that at the executive level there in the state, and of course, then once you go down to the local level, say with the legislators, with their constituents, they're going to go compete for those funds for various programs, and that'll be an interesting dynamic to come. Thank you very much, May Ann, and please be safe there. Protect yourself from the heat wave as well.
You too, Alfred. Thank you.
Let's move on now to Texas. A judge clarifies that the number of COVID-19 related infant deaths in Nueces County is not a southern surge. In Dallas, we have Nanita Manawis with her report. Aloha, Nanita.
For other news, it's welcome back race fans this weekend at the Texas Motor Speedway in Fort Worth, Texas, where the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 triple header event happens. The racing event started Saturday with the NASCAR Xfinity Series My Bariatric Solutions 300 victory awarded to Austin Cindric after Kyle Busch was disqualified when his Joe Gibbs Racing number 54 Toyota failed the post-race inspection. However, Busch bounced back and won the NASCAR Ganda RV and Outdoor Truck Series Vancore 350 held Saturday evening. Both were run as non-spectators events. Fans with pre-purchase or exchange race tickets are welcome to attend the O'Reilly Auto Parts 500 NASCAR Cup Series on Sunday, July 19, subject to social distancing requirements and additional protocols. The Texas Motor Speedway lists this event as the first major league sports event in Texas open to fans since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Dallas, Texas, I'm Nanita Manawis, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks very much, Nanita. And just to clarify, that's actually the latest sporting development there in the Fort Worth area, which is also some interesting events as the state, particularly in that part of Texas, is trying to resume some events there. Thank you very much for that update, Nanita. When we come back, some more from our Eagle News correspondents across the US of A. Don't go away. This is Eagle News America.
Naipakita na nila ang kanilang galing. Nasa inyong mga kamay ang kanilang kapalaran. 100% ng desisyon kung sino ang tatanghaling tagisan ng galing grand winner ay manggagaling sa boto ninyo. Kaya iboto na ang pinakamagaling na contestant para sa iyo. Kung ikaw ay Team Angel Nicole Francisco, text TNG Space Angel and send to 0922-1101-400. Sa palagay mo, Cosmic Angels ang pinakamagaling. Text TNG Space Cosmic and send to 0922-110-1400. Kung Power Duo ang nagpahanga sa iyo, text TNG space power and send to 0922-110-1400. Support na kung napahanga ka ni Jonah Chris Bandilio. Text TNG space Jonah Chris and send to 0922-110-1400. Number 1 at the best ba para sa iyo si Adrian Oclarino? Text TNG space Adrian and send to 0922-110-1400. Para sa text votes, isang boto kada isang mobile number. Make sure na tama ang keyword para valid ang boto mo. Pwede rin kayong bumoto via online. Pumunta lang sa Tagisan ng Galing channel sa YouTube. I-click ang subscribe. Hanapin ang individual performance ng paborito ninyong top 5 finalists. Panoorin, i-like at mag-comment. At i-share. Ang total percentage ng boto para sa inyong paboritong contestant will be computed as follows. 25% ay manggagaling sa inyong text votes. 25% ay mula sa bilang ng mga views. 25% para sa total numbers of likes. At 25% ang magmumula sa total number of shares ng mga videos ng kanilang mga individual performances. Kaya naman, lahat ng boto, views, like at share ninyo ay mahalaga. So, vote now! Sabay-sabay nating abangan kung sino ang tatanghaling grand winner sa Tagisan ng Galing.
Malaking parte ng pamumuhay namin ang agrikultura. Sa mother side ko, ang kanilang kalakal ay animal husbandry. Sila po ay nag-aalaga ng mga baka. Magmula po sa Pangasinan, napunta po ng Nueva Ecija. Ang father side ko naman po, mula po sa Spain, pagdating nila dito sa Pilipinas, sila po yung tinatawag na uring may lupa. Talagang nabuhay po kami, ibinuhay po sa amin ang agrikultura. Mga mahal kong kababayan, ito po si Robin Padilla. Inaanyayahan ko po kayong manood ng Unlad, Kaagapay sa Hanap Buhay. Dito po sa Net 25.
May kaagapay sa hanap buhay.
Protektahan ang sarili laban sa coronavirus disease o COVID-19.
Narito ang ilang paalala.
Takpan ang ilong at bibig sa tuwing babahin at uubo. Gamitin ang looban ng siko. Kung gagamit naman ng tissue, ay tiyaking maitapon ito agad sa tamang basurahan. Iwasang hawakan ang ilong o bibig. Ugaliing maghugas ng mga kamay gamit ang sabon at umaagos na tubig o magpahid ng alcohol-based sanitizer.
Gumamit ng face mask kung ikaw ay may ubot sipon. O kaya naman ay may inaalaga ang pasyente na mayroong simptomas ng respiratory illness. Itapon ng gamit na face mask sa tamang basurahan.
Sundin ang social distancing. Panatilihin ang 1 metrong layo mula sa ibang tao. Lalo na kapag nasa labas ng bahay. Kung maaari ay umiwas muna sa mga matataong lugar.
Laging tandaan, mahalaga ang kalinisan upang sakit ay maiwasan.
Know the latest news and information here and abroad in Aguila Balita, the morning and noontime news programs brought about by the synergy of Net 25 and Radyo Aguila.
Get the fresh news and reports from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao in our midday newscast in Aguila, Pilipinas.
Track the latest stories in the provinces in Aguila, Provincia.
Be aware of important events in the region in ASEAN in Focus.
And be updated with the biggest news around the world with the support of its international correspondents and volunteers in Eagle News International.
Tune in to Mata ng Aguila and get the day's headlines and news that are sharp, accurate, and objective. Catch all of these on Net25, your reliable source of news, edutainment, and technology updates.
You can also watch our news and current affairs programs and edutainment shows through our Eagle News and Net25 Facebook pages, YouTube channel, at Eagle News, and in our live streaming sites. Be informed with relevant news and information in these interesting times.
We know that this is a scary time for all of us.
The coronavirus is changing the world.
Changing our lives.
So please, take care of yourself.
Keep your distance.
Wash your hands.
And if you can, stay at home.
We at DW
are here for you.
We are working tirelessly to keep you informed on all of our platforms.
We're all in this together.
And together,
we'll make it through.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Please, stay safe.
Welcome back to Eagle News America. We head on west to Washington State, where social gathering limitations roll back. From Seattle, we have our bureau chief, Frendel Heron, with the details. Hello, Frendel.
Thank you, Alfred. Do you like my location? It's not my typical office, but we're going to go ahead and start off with the statistics. There are now 46,026 positive cases, 5,033 hospitalizations, and sadly, there are now 1,444 deaths. Now, as promised, the state government is to modify Safe Start Plan as necessary. Now, because the COVID-19 cases continue to rise across the state of Washington, Governor Inslee recently announced a new limit to social gatherings and a ban on live entertainment statewide. Now, starting tomorrow, July 20th, Phase 3 of the Safe Start Plan social gathering limitations will be reduced from 50 to 10 people. The counties that are in Phase 2 may continue to meet and hold gatherings of up to 5 people. Now, to be clear, these restrictions do not apply to funerals, weddings, religious activities, and business operations that continue to comply with guidelines. The examples on some of these gatherings that the new restriction apply to are book clubs, barbecues, picnics, parties like birthday parties, home parties, etc. Now, in terms of live entertainment, this new restriction applies to drive-in concerts, comedy clubs, and music in restaurants. Now, are we wondering, what statistic ignited this rollback? Now, the Department of Health reported that there were 629 cases every day from June 26th through July 2nd, which is the highest since the start of the pandemic. Now, what we have learned is that the COVID-19 cases are easily and commonly spread through face-to-face interaction. So the state government continues to encourage the residents of Washington to comply with all of the measures. Wear your face coverings, practice physical distancing, hand hygiene, everything else. Build your immune system, cover your mouth when you cough, and all of those things. Now, Governor Inslee continues to remind us that we shouldn't let our guard down, even though that the cities are opening and that we are engaging in more activities. Because We want to make sure that we continue to slow the spread of COVID-19. So we all just have to be patient, we have to stay informed, and most importantly, we have to comply with all these measures. That way, the citizens and residents of Washington can continue to recreate responsibly and move forward in our Safe Start plan. From Seattle, Washington, Frendel Fejerin, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Mahalo. Thank you very much, Frendel, for that report. That's a nice setting outdoors. What a good place to social distance is that Ferris wheel behind you. Might be a good attraction to feature down the road there, Frendel. Thank you very much there, Washington team. Let's move on to Nevada, where the state seeks plans from cities and counties as a response to federal designations of red and yellow zones for COVID-19. In Vegas, we have our bureau chief, Anna Cui, with her story. Aloha, Anna.
Aloha, Alfred. Thank you. Yes, according to officials, as stated in the Nevada Health Response website, since receiving the Nevada-specific COVID-19 report from the White House, the state has tried to work with counties, cities, and municipalities to disseminate the report to all the local governments, including those especially representing regions listed as red zones or yellow zones per the report. I took a look at the report, and I just want to go over the summary of this White House report for Nevada. And this is exactly what it says. Nevada is in the red zone for cases, indicating more than 100 new cases per 100,000 population last week. And it's also in the red zone for test positivity, which indicates a rate above 10%. Next, it says Nevada has seen stability in new cases and a decrease in testing positivity over the past week. Las Vegas continues to have concerning rise in cases. And the following 3 counties had the highest number of new cases over the past 3 weeks. Those namely Clark County, where Las Vegas sits, Washoe, and Elko County. Now, these counties represent 97.7% of new cases in Nevada, according to the report. Lastly, it says Nevada had 173 new cases per 100,000 population in the past week, compared to a national average of 119 per 100,000. That's the summary of the White House report that I read. Now, specific to the city of Las Vegas, which again, as I've mentioned, sits in Clark County, as of today, our total cases equals 30,432. We have a total death of 527, and our positivity rate in Clark County is at 10.5. According to the Nevada Hospital Association, as of July 18, 2020, our ICU beds are 88% occupied, and our ventilators used is at 50%. Now, there has not been any recent changes to the governor's previous mandate of closing down bars last week, considering that our numbers have been, has increased according to, to the reports. And according to the press release from Nevada Health Response, under the governor's emergency directives, local governments can actually, change because they're granted authority to change or add COVID-19 related rules and regulations for their locality that can be more restrictive than those issued by the governor's office. To date, I don't have any updates from the local government, so we'll keep you up to date with any changes as they become available. And before I let you go, Alfred, weather today in Las Vegas, 107 degrees high, which is equal to 42 degrees Celsius. And it started out with a cloudy skies this morning, and by, I believe, 1 o'clock, clouds went away, and it was unbearable to be outside. In Las Vegas, Anna Cui, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Mahalo very much for that update, Anna, especially with the weather. Anything above 30 is already unbearable, for most of us in the country. I'm just curious about the federal report on the state and the counties. Of course, when you have an outside organization looking at you, you know, sometimes you have to ask about the credibility of the reports. I mean, from what you've gathered, what are your thoughts about this this report from the federal government?
Well, Alfred, you mentioned, you know, credibility. I couldn't pass. I picked up the report. You know, I saw it. It's the first time I've seen it, and I'm wondering if other states have received it, and you know, maybe because they according to them, Nevada is in the red zone. But I couldn't pass the summary because on the summary, and I don't know if you caught it, but it says the second bullet point was Nevada has seen stability in new cases and decrease in testing positivity over the past week, which is contradictory to what the rest of the report, because according to the official numbers to the COVID tracking project, I looked back a week, this past week, and our positivity rates and our number of cases actually went up. It started a week ago at 8%. And as of today, it's up 9.2%. So there you have it. I will give you, I will give you to conclude, you know, on your opinion on the report.
I know that it's just, you know, subject to interpretation. I mean, just numbers themselves, you know, can mean anything. Right. But I got to ask you my favorite question before I let you go. Hey, what's the latest there on the Strip? You know, buffets and everything.
Well, the Strip is looking more like a regular tourist spot again. Sadly, Alfred, it's pretty. It's pretty busy. Even everywhere here in Vegas, actually. Our McCarran International Airport reports an increase in flight schedules. So it's a lot of people visiting Las Vegas.
And as July turns to August in a matter of days, you know, we can only speculate the numbers going up. Like here in Hawaii, you get that correlation between our destinations, you know, on a similar keel. Thanks very much, Anna, and take care of yourself, please. Looking forward to hear from you soon. Okay. Let's move on now to Southern California. It is called the Multi-System Inflammatory Syndrome in Children, or MIS-C, which poses a new threat amid the COVID-19 pandemic. For the details, we have Andre Retutar in Panorama City with his report. Aloha, Andre.
Aloha, Alfred.
Do not attend a gathering.
In the shadow of the coronavirus pandemic, there's another threat targeting the young. It is a rare condition called multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, or MIS-C. What causes MIS-C is as of yet still unknown, but the painful inflammation it triggers in different parts of the body is well documented. Some of the body parts that can be inflamed include the heart, brain, lungs, kidneys, gastrointestinal organs, eyes, or skin. According to recent data, there are 15 cases of MIS-C in Los Angeles County in children 8 years old to young adults 20 years of age. Parents should contact their healthcare provider right away if their children are showing symptoms such as fever, abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea, neck pain, rashes, bloodshot eyes, or feeling unusually fatigued. However, emergency services should be immediately sought for elevated symptoms, including trouble with breathing, lingering chest pain or pressure, unusual confusion, difficulty waking or staying awake, bluish coloring in the lips or face, or severe abdominal pain. It is unclear what, if any, connection MIS-C has with coronavirus. But according to findings from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, many children diagnosed with MIS-C either had or were exposed to someone infected with the COVID-19 virus. Parents are being advised to monitor their children's health, and the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health recommends physicians to consider MIS-C in patients younger than 21 years old. The reports of MIS-C cases in Los Angeles County is unwelcome news, made more so by the fact that LA remains at the top of the state's list for most coronavirus infections and deaths. Take a look at the short address for residents from Los Angeles City Mayor Eric Garcetti.
The party, do not attend a gathering,
Don't treat this like a normal summer break. This virus is not taking the summer off, and we can't afford to either.
In Los Angeles County, the number of newly reported cases is 2,848 and 11 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in the county is 155,887 with 4,095 deaths and 22,216 current hospitalization as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, the state of California has a total of 384,692 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 7,685 deaths as recorded by the California Department of Public Health. In Panorama City, California, Andre Rio-Tatar, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Aloha. Thank you very much, Andre, for that update there in Southern California and the state. So what can parents do to help protect their children from MIS-C?
Actually, the preventative control measures to stop the spread of COVID-19 are the same protocols that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommend us to follow to reduce the risk of MIS-C. Wash hands frequently with soap and water, use hand sanitizers, physical distancing, wear face coverings, stay away from people who are sick, etc. So by abiding by the safety measures for coronavirus, parents are at the same time helping protect their kids from MIS-C.
Thanks for those tips, Andre, and of course, take care of yourself and your friends and loved ones. And I know it's also frustrating. It's not only hot, there's also, I think, a restriction now that you cannot go out and eat in restaurants anymore because I think the governor just ordered that recently. So just be patient there, guys, and hang in there.
Of course.
Let's move on now to sports. Yes, we have sporting news. NBA players like Kyle Lowry and Gordon Hayward share their opinions on sacrifice and family life. In Boston, we have Julianne Evangelista with her report. Julianne?
NBA players Kyle Lowry of the Toronto Raptors and Gordon Hayward of the Boston Celtics have to sacrifice for their families. That sacrifice involves leaving their kids behind to provide for their needs.
It's gonna suck, but you know, my boys understand the sacrifices that have to be made to live the type of life that we live, and they understand that their dad has to go do their job and has to go to work. And the one thing I always say is, FaceTime and technology, as you guys see with us on this Zoom thing, it's changed the game. So I can talk to my kids every single day. They can FaceTime and they call me, we talk, we kind of interactive. We kind of make sure that I know what's going on with their day. They're, consistently asking me questions and asking me to buy them Roblox, and that's all they really care about is Roblox and my money and spending it.
It's very unique. I think it's very unprecedented. I think all of this is new for a lot of people. Just everything combined. I mean, I think some of it you can find similarities with other I guess tournaments or events we've been at just throughout the course of our careers. But certainly, just the whole thing in general is brand new and it's an adjustment. I think leaving the girlies was definitely one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I mean, it was emotional, that's for sure, and very, very tough to leave. I think my girls are at the age where they kind of understand what's going on now, so they know that I'm leaving and that I'm not going back. I think being able to see us on TV will certainly help, but leaving that day was definitely very difficult and definitely sad. So I definitely miss my family.
For more NBA stories, continue to tune into EBC News. From Boston, I'm Julianne Lou Evangelista, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks very much, Julianne from Boston. Coming up, we're going to learn some household hacks. We're going to know more about that after this break. Stay with us.
in good shape. Isn't that how we'd all like to be? But how can you be truly fit? And how can you stay truly healthy right up into your golden years? And truly have fun while doing it.
In good shape.
They are called strategies or techniques that clever individuals adopt in order to manage time and other resources and daily activities in a very efficient way, also known as household hacks. So household hacks is an easier term to use. Before we ask our Eagle News team, okay, I've been asked by my producer to share one myself. The only one I can think of right off the bat is because I am standing in the hottest part of the house. Behind me is the afternoon sun where it sets. So you know, as the sun sets, this is where it's warmest. You'll see this curtain right here that I'm going to pan it a little bit. This is where we try to block off the sun, and we keep the sunlight you know, as much away as possible to keep this this floor warm. Actually, right now there's another set of curtains, you know, to kind of abate the heat. So that's a hack. Not very sophisticated, but it's a way to stay cool in the house. So let me throw let me toss it now to Imelin with her.
Hi, Alfred. Well, your curtain is a nice way to block the sun. Yeah. Well, my hack is everything lemon. Well, kitchen-wise, after squeezing the life out of the lemon, the scraps I use to clean the sink or the oven top, I hate the grease. So lemons for me are good in removing stubborn grease. Oh, even with easy cleaning the microwave, you know, you put half a lemon in a cup, then heat it on high till it boils, then wait for a minute or two, voila! You can easily wipe the gunk of your microwave.
That's a good idea. Yeah, we have gunk ourselves, you know, above that oven, that fan thing. It's a good idea. Thank you. Naya, how about you there in Maryland? What kind of hack can you share with us?
Hi, Alfred. Whenever I'm struggling to open a jar or any cap, I try to find any rubber bands lying around, and I wrap it around the cap and use that to open it, so it will be easier.
That's a good idea, very practical, and it's a good use of those rubber bands. How about you, Andre? What you got there you can share with us there from California? Okay, so you know, he's got a lot to share. Go ahead.
So I really like to be organized, and I have a lot of cables.
So you mentioned something about cables, you know, especially when we're hooked up to gadgets. And I know a lot of us tend to bundle them up in a certain way with a lot of you know, accessories, which is a good idea.
I like being organized. So in order to organize my cables on my desk, I use paper clips, put them on the edge of the table, and loop the cable right through it, and that's how I keep organized.
That's a good idea. I never thought about paper clips myself. I was always associated with rubber bands, just like what Naya shared, you know, with other uses. Yeah. So that's a good idea there, Andre. Take care of yourselves, guys. Now, before we sign off, let's continue to thank and salute our frontline essential workers across the nation who continue to look out for our health and our safety in our communities, not only in response to the pandemic, but also in light of recent events. We thank you for watching Eagle News America. Stay tuned for our other news programs right here on EBC. Reporting from Hawaii, I'm Alfred Asenas. We live in interesting times. Aloha.